Confidence is the one quality that instantly sets a woman apart, no matter what age she is. Think about it. When you see a woman walk into a room, do you really notice her wrinkles first, or the number of candles on her last birthday cake? No. What you notice is the way she carries herself, the way she holds her head high, the way she seems unshakable, like she knows exactly who she is and what she deserves. That kind of energy cannot be faked, and it cannot be ignored. Men don't go crazy for women because of a certain shade of lipstick or the perfect dress size. They go crazy when a woman's presence tells them, "I know my worth, with or without you." Here's the secret most people never talk about: beauty will always be subjective, but confidence is universal. Every man, no matter his background, instinctively recognizes it. He might not even be able to put it into words, but he feels it. Confidence speaks louder than any outfit you could wear, louder than the most expensive perfume, louder than youth itself, and that's why older women have such an advantage, because true confidence is rarely born in your 20s. It comes from years of knowing yourself, falling down and getting back up, facing challenges and realizing you survived them all. That history is what fuels the kind of confidence that men find irresistible. Imagine this: a man approaches two women. One is young, beautiful by society standards, but she's unsure of herself, constantly seeking validation. The other is older, maybe not dressed in the trendiest style, maybe a little silver in her hair, but she looks him in the eye with steady calmness. She smiles like she owns the room, and she speaks like she doesn't need anyone's approval. Who do you think has his full attention? The answer is simple: the one who radiates confidence. Because confidence feels like certainty, and certainty feels like security. Men crave that, whether they admit it or not. Confidence is also contagious. When you stand tall, you inspire the man next to you to stand taller too. When you show that you are comfortable in your skin, it gives him permission to drop the act, to stop pretending, to be real with you. That's why men chase after confident women. It's not just about admiration, it's about the way you make them feel when they are around you. You create an environment where they want to rise up, to be worthy of your energy, to match the standard you set without even saying a word. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Many women think confidence is about perfection. They think they'll finally feel confident when they lose those extra 10 pounds, or when they smooth out the lines on their face, or when they finally fit into some impossible definition of beauty. But confidence has nothing to do with perfection. In fact, it's the opposite. True confidence is when you embrace your imperfections and still say, "I am enough." Men go crazy when a woman stops apologizing for who she is, when she laughs loud without caring who's watching, when she wears what makes her feel alive instead of what makes her blend in, when she walks into a room and doesn't shrink back, doesn't hide, but instead takes up her space like she belongs there, because she does. Here's another secret: men don't remember the small details about how you looked on any given day. What they remember is how you made them feel. Did your energy light up the space? Did your confidence make the conversation exciting, fun, effortless? Did you walk away leaving an impression that lingered? That's what they remember. And when you're confident, you make a man feel like he's in the presence of someone rare, someone he doesn't want to lose, someone he can't easily replace. But let's go deeper. Why do men respond so strongly to confidence in older women? Because it's rare. In a world where so many people are insecure, constantly comparing themselves, chasing trends, and doubting their worth, a woman who is simply sure of herself is like a breath of fresh air. She's not trying to compete with anyone. She's not desperate for approval. She knows her value and she lives it. That's intoxicating. That's magnetic. And men can't help but be drawn to it. Confidence also changes the way you love. A confident woman doesn't love out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of losing someone. She loves from a place of fullness, not emptiness. She can give without losing herself, and she can receive without doubting if she deserves it. That energy is so powerful that men not only notice it, they crave it. They crave the kind of love that feels stable, exciting, and secure all at once, and it's confidence that allows you to create that. So, when you think about confidence, don't mistake it for arrogance. It's not about being louder or tougher or pretending you don't care. True confidence is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It's knowing that even if someone doesn't choose you, you are still whole. It's knowing that your worth isn't up for debate. It's knowing that you bring value wherever you go, not because of how you look, but because of who you are. And that's why confidence outshines appearance every single time. Looks will fade, beauty trends will change, but confidence only grows stronger. Men may notice a pretty face, but they remember the woman who walked with certainty, who looked them in the eye, who carried herself like she was her own standard of beauty. That's the kind of woman they go crazy for. That's the kind of woman you already have the power to be. One of the most underrated yet most irresistible qualities older women have is emotional maturity. Men don't always talk about it, but they crave it deeply. It's the quiet strength of knowing who you are, handling challenges with grace, and not letting every little situation shake your entire world. Emotional maturity is the calm in the storm, And that calmness makes men feel safe, respected, and connected in ways they don't always understand themselves. Think about how many relationships fall apart, not because of love, but because of the constant roller coaster of emotions, small issues turning into wars, misunderstandings blowing up into chaos, and both people feeling drained instead of uplifted. Men are drawn to women who don't add fuel to the fire, but instead know how to cool it down. And that doesn't mean she suppresses her feelings or becomes passive. No, it means she expresses her emotions with clarity, with balance, with wisdom that only comes from experience. That's what separates an older woman from someone still figuring out who she is. When you've lived through enough, you start to see the difference between what truly matters and what doesn't. That perspective is priceless. The small inconveniences don't throw you off track anymore. You don't feel the need to win every argument or prove yourself at every turn. Instead, you can listen, pause, and respond in a way that brings understanding instead of conflict. To a man, that kind of maturity feels like a safe harbor after years of crashing waves. It's like he finally found someone who knows how to steady the ship instead of rocking it further. There's also a magnetic kind of power in emotional calmness. When a man gets upset, frustrated, or even defensive, and the woman across from him doesn't immediately mirror that chaos, but instead grounds the moment with her steady energy, he can't help but be drawn in. It disarms him. It makes him want to open up instead of shut down. It makes him want to lean in instead of run away. Men respect women who don't let emotions control them, but instead know how to master them. And that's something older women often carry naturally because life has taught them that storms pass, feelings change, and self-control always pays off. Here's the truth: anyone can be exciting when everything is going smoothly. But the real test of connection is what happens when things go wrong. That's where emotional maturity shines brightest. The ability to stay grounded when life throws challenges, to respond with wisdom instead of impulse, to handle conflict without tearing the other person down. That's what makes a man not only attracted to a woman, but deeply committed to her. Because he knows she's not just a partner in the good times, she's a partner he can weather life with. And men do go crazy for that. They might not phrase it in poetic terms, but deep down, they know how rare it is. A woman who can hear his fears without judging him, who can challenge him without belittling him, who can express her needs without turning it into a battlefield. That's not just attractive, it's unforgettable. It's the kind of emotional presence that lingers long after she's gone because it touches him on a level beyond the surface. Now, let's be clear, emotional maturity doesn't mean you never feel anger, sadness, or frustration. It doesn't mean you're emotionless. It means you've learned how to process those feelings, how to express them in a way that builds instead of destroys, and how to choose peace over unnecessary chaos. That's strength, that's wisdom, and that's exactly what makes men lean in closer. They see it, they feel it, and it calms something inside them that no amount of physical attraction ever could. Another piece of this puzzle is self-awareness. Older women tend to know their triggers, their patterns, their own emotional landscape. They've learned what to hold on to and what to let go of. That kind of self-awareness is magnetic because it creates stability. Men crave stability more than they'll admit, and when they find it in a woman, they hold on tight. Stability doesn't mean boring. It means dependable, secure, and trustworthy. It means she's not constantly at war with herself, and that peace spills into the relationship. And let's not forget the power of patience. Emotional maturity often shows up in patience, the ability to give someone the space to grow, the grace to make mistakes, and the time to come back stronger. Younger relationships often crumble under impatience, the constant need for everything to be perfect right now. But with maturity comes the understanding that people are imperfect, love is imperfect, and growth takes time. Men go crazy when they find a woman who doesn't expect perfection, but instead encourages progress, who doesn't demand instant answers, but instead builds trust through patience. This kind of calm presence changes everything. Imagine a man who's had a long day, who's carrying stress from work, from life, from expectations. He walks into the presence of a woman who meets him not with judgment, not with more chaos, but with calmness. She listens, she gives space, she knows how to create peace. That moment becomes a refuge for him, and he will do everything he can to keep coming back to it. Because in a world full of noise, drama, and distraction, she is the one who brings quiet strength. That's why emotional maturity is not just attractive, it's magnetic. It doesn't scream for attention, but it captures it anyway. It doesn't demand respect, but it earns it effortlessly. And the beauty is, it can't be faked. It only comes from experience, from growth, from choosing to rise above instead of sink low. Older women carry that naturally, and men know it when they see it. They might not even fully understand why they're so drawn in, but it's because emotional maturity speaks to something deeper than desire. It speaks to his need for connection, for safety, for someone who won't just stand beside him in joy but also in struggle. And that calm, steady, emotionally mature presence, that is something men will always go crazy for. There is something undeniably magnetic about playfulness, and it becomes even more powerful when it comes from a woman who carries herself with maturity and wisdom. Men don't admit it out loud, but they are drawn to women who can surprise them, tease them, and make life feel lighter. Playfulness is not about acting immature or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about embracing that spark of joy, that sense of fun, that energy that keeps everything alive and unpredictable. For older women, this quality is especially irresistible because it shatters the stereotype that maturity must mean seriousness. It shows men that life with you will never be dull, that even in the midst of responsibility and routine, there is always room for laughter, mischief, and lightheartedness. Think about it. When you meet someone new, the conversations you remember are never the ones filled only with facts, logistics, or heavy seriousness. You remember the ones where you laughed unexpectedly, where the energy felt playful, where you forgot for a moment that the world is full of stress. Men are wired to crave the kind of release, that break from pressure, that spark that makes everything feel less heavy. And when a woman provides that, especially when it comes naturally to her, he can't help but want to be near her. The beauty of playful femininity is that it doesn't require perfection. It's not about trying to look like a 20-year-old or forcing humor to get attention. It's about letting your natural personality shine without fear of judgment. A witty remark, a teasing smile, a playful challenge in conversation, these things awaken something in men that goes beyond attraction. They trigger curiosity. They make him want to lean in closer to see what you'll do or say next. That unpredictability is exciting because it makes the interaction feel alive. Older women have a unique advantage here because playfulness coming from them often carries depth. It's not just silly or careless. It's layered with confidence and wisdom. When a mature woman teases, it feels charming rather than immature. When she laughs freely, it feels refreshing rather than out of place. When she challenges a man in a playful way, it feels like a game worth engaging in rather than a competition to avoid. That combination of fun and depth is what drives men crazy because it means they get the best of both worlds, joy and substance. Another reason playfulness is so powerful is because it creates emotional connection without pressure. When you laugh with someone, walls come down, defenses drop. Playfulness disarms tension in a way that nothing else can. A man can walk into a conversation guarded, but when a woman greets him with humor and light energy, he instantly relaxes. That's when he feels safe enough to open up, to be himself, to let go of the weight he carries. And the person who gives him that feeling will always stand out in his mind. There's also something very feminine about playfulness. It's a reminder that life isn't just about survival and responsibility. It's also about joy, curiosity, and discovery. Men are drawn to women who can bring out that lighter side of life. When you can look at an ordinary moment and turn it into something fun, when you can laugh at yourself instead of taking everything so seriously, when you can make even simple conversations feel exciting, you give him an experience he can't get everywhere. You become unforgettable, not because you tried to impress him, but because you made him feel alive. Now, it's important to understand that playfulness doesn't mean ignoring depth. In fact, the reason it's so magnetic in older women is because it's balanced with maturity. It's playful, but not reckless. It's lighthearted, but not shallow. It's fun, but never at the cost of respect. That balance is rare, and that's what makes it powerful. Men want to feel challenged, but not attacked. They want to feel excited, but not overwhelmed. They want to feel joy, but not emptiness. A playful woman who knows how to balance laughter with depth gives them exactly that. And here's the beautiful truth. Playfulness has nothing to do with age. It's a choice, a mindset, a way of living. You can be 40, 50, 60, or beyond and still light up a room with your energy. You can still tease, still flirt, still laugh with abandon. In fact, when a mature woman does this, it often carries even more impact because it goes against what most men expect. They expect maturity to come with heaviness, but when they see it mixed with joy, it captivates them completely. It makes them think, this woman knows how to live. Men also fall for playful femininity because it makes them feel desired in a way that isn't heavy-handed. A joke, a mischievous smile, a playful touch. It communicates interest without desperation. It makes him feel chosen in a lighthearted way that boosts his energy instead of pressuring him. And the more he feels good in your presence, the more addicted he becomes to being around you. Playfulness also keeps the spark alive long after the initial attraction. Looks may fade, novelty may wear off, but the ability to laugh together never grows old. That's what sustains desire, what keeps the connection fresh, what makes the relationship something he wants to hold on to. When he knows he'll always laugh with you, always feel that spark, always have those playful moments to look forward to, he won't easily let go. At the heart of it, playful femininity is about joy. It's about bringing light into the room instead of heaviness, about making memories instead of just passing time, about keeping the spirit of fun alive no matter what stage of life you're in. And when a man experiences that with a woman who also carries confidence and maturity, it's a combination that leaves him captivated. He doesn't just see you as attractive, he sees you as unforgettable. And that is why men go crazy for women who embrace their playful side. It's not about age. It's about energy. It's about the spark you carry, the joy you share, and the way you make life feel like an adventure instead of a burden. That's the kind of femininity that stays in his mind long after the conversation ends, the kind that pulls him back again and again. Because with you, he doesn't just feel attracted, he feels alive. There is something irresistibly attractive about a woman who carries herself with independence. Men may not always say it out loud, but they go crazy for women who have their own lives, their own passions, and their own energy that doesn't revolve around anyone else. Independence is not about rejecting love or saying you don't need anyone. It's about showing that you are whole on your own, that you bring value to a relationship rather than waiting for someone else to complete you. That kind of energy is powerful and it's magnetic. When a woman lives her life with purpose, whether it's her career, her hobbies, her friendships, or simply her passions, she creates an aura that men find incredibly fascinating. It shows that she's not sitting around waiting to be chosen. She has already chosen herself. And that is what flips the script. Because instead of chasing a woman who needs him to fill her empty spaces, a man finds himself chasing a woman who already has a full life. That's when he realizes he wants to earn a place in it, not because she needs him, but because she wants him. Men respect women who have boundaries, who can say no when something doesn't align with their values, and who won't abandon their dreams just to keep a man around. Independence communicates strength, but not the kind of strength that pushes people away. It's the kind of strength that says, I can stand on my own, but I choose to share my life with you. And that choice is what makes men chase harder, because they know they are not being tolerated, they are being selected. Think about the difference between a woman who depends on a man for her happiness and one who creates happiness within her own life. The first may cling to him, demand constant reassurance, and fear losing him because her identity is tied to him. The second welcomes him, enjoys him, but doesn't lose herself in the process. She loves with freedom instead of fear. She knows that her world won't collapse if someone walks away because she has built a foundation within herself. That is what makes her presence so powerful. She loves from strength, not from desperation. Independence also keeps attraction alive because it brings freshness into the relationship. A woman who has her own interests, her own stories, her own experiences, always has something new to bring to the table. She's not recycling her entire life around one man, she's expanding it, and he gets to be a part of that expansion. That curiosity, that ongoing growth keeps him engaged. He looks forward to hearing about her day, her projects, her adventures, because it adds excitement and depth to their bond. And here's the truth, men admire what they cannot control. When a woman is completely dependent, it may feel flattering at first, but over time it becomes heavy, even suffocating. But when a woman is independent, when she can stand on her own, when she doesn't crumble without constant validation, she becomes someone he deeply respects. He knows he can't manipulate her, he can't take her for granted, because she has options, she has strength, she has her own life. That respect grows into admiration, and admiration grows into desire. Older women often embody this independence naturally because they've lived through enough to understand the importance of self-reliance. They've built careers, raised families, created lives, and weathered storms on their own. That experience creates an energy that says, I know I can handle myself, and men find that deeply attractive because it removes pressure. It shows him she's not looking for a savior, she's looking for a partner. Another aspect of independent energy is freedom. When a woman doesn't rely on a man for every ounce of her joy, she gives him freedom too. She's not constantly monitoring his every move. She's not afraid every time he steps out of the room. She's not gripping the relationship with fear. Instead, she gives space, and that space actually draws him closer. Men crave freedom, but paradoxically, they are most loyal to the women who give them that freedom. Independence allows love to breathe, and that makes it last longer. Let's not confuse independence with distance. Some people think being independent means keeping people at arm's length or refusing to show vulnerability, but that's not true independence. That's fear disguised as strength. True independence means you can open your heart fully without losing yourself. You can give love without abandoning your identity. You can stand strong even while leaning on someone else when you choose to. It's not about walls, it's about balance. And that balance is rare, which is why men value it so deeply when they find it. A woman with independent energy also inspires. Men look at her and see someone who pushes them to grow, to step up, to be more. She doesn't drag them down with constant demands. She lifts them by simply being an example of strength and purpose. That inspiration is powerful because it awakens something in a man. It makes him want to become a better version of himself. Not because she told him to, but because being with her naturally challenges him to rise. At the end of the day, independence is one of the most irresistible forms of confidence. It communicates that you are not afraid of being alone, that you are not desperate to cling to anyone, that you can thrive with or without a partner. And that's the paradox. When you don't need a man, that's when he wants you the most. Because men are drawn to women who don't just add to their lives, but who have lives worth joining. That is why independent energy drives men crazy. It tells them you are strong, self-assured, and complete. It makes them respect you, admire you, and desire you all at once. And it ensures that your love is never born out of fear, but always out of choice. A woman who embodies independence is unforgettable because she doesn't just share herself, she shares a whole world, and that's something no man wants to let go of. There is something unforgettable about the way a woman communicates when she truly knows herself. Men may be captivated by a beautiful face or a graceful presence, but what keeps them hooked, what makes them feel connected and understood, is how a woman expresses herself. Communication is not just about words, it's about energy, tone, timing, and the courage to say what you mean without hiding behind games. And this is where older women often shine, because they've learned through life that clarity is far more powerful than confusion, and honesty is far more magnetic than manipulation. When a woman speaks with confidence and intention, men feel it. It doesn't matter if she's expressing affection, setting boundaries, or simply sharing a story. Her words carry weight. They linger. They inspire. They make him feel seen and understood. That's because great communication isn't about saying what he wants to hear. It's about saying what's true in a way that invites respect. Men may be momentarily attracted to charm or surface beauty, but what they remember, what they crave, is the woman whose voice made them feel alive. The power of communication also lies in listening. A woman who listens not to respond, but to understand is rare. Men are used to being interrupted, dismissed, or unheard. But when a woman listens with genuine curiosity, with patience, with empathy, it disarms them completely. He feels valued in her presence, and that feeling is addictive. Listening is an act of strength, not weakness. It communicates security, confidence, and maturity. And that's why men go crazy for women who not only know how to speak with clarity, but also how to listen with depth. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. A woman who knows how to communicate with warmth, with humor, with charm, creates an atmosphere men never want to leave. Words can wound or heal, build or destroy. Men remember the woman who speaks life into them, who can challenge them without tearing them down, who can disagree without disrespect. That balance is powerful, and it sets her apart from anyone else he has known. Playful communication also has its place. Teasing, witty banter, playful challenges, these create sparks that keep attraction alive. When a woman can go back and forth with a man in a lighthearted way, it creates chemistry that feels electric. Men love this kind of exchange because it excites them intellectually and emotionally. It shows that she's not afraid to be bold, to be witty, to be fully herself in the conversation. And it leaves them craving more. Another side of powerful communication is vulnerability. Men go crazy for women who can open up and share their hearts, not in a way that demands pity, but in a way that shows trust. Vulnerability communicates strength because it takes courage to be open in a world where most people hide behind masks. When a woman shares her truth with honesty and dignity, it invites him to do the same. It creates intimacy that no surface-level attraction could ever match. Clarity is another quality that cannot be overlooked. Men respect women who are clear about what they want, what they need, and what they will not tolerate. Mixed signals and constant guessing may keep things confusing, but they don't create lasting desire. What truly captivates a man is a woman who communicates her standards with grace, who says, "This is who I am, this is what I expect, and this is what I give in return." That level of communication earns respect instantly because it leaves no room for games. Older women often embody this power because life has taught them that silence in the wrong moments can cost too much, and speaking up with courage can change everything. They've learned to stop watering themselves down just to keep the peace, and that authenticity makes them magnetic. Men may not even realize why they're so drawn to her, but it's because her words carry truth, and truth is rare. Men also crave women who know how to communicate appreciation. A simple acknowledgement, a kind word, a moment of gratitude, these things mean more than people realize. Men want to feel valued, and when a woman can express that sincerely, it makes him want to give her even more. Communication that uplifts and encourages is like fuel to a man's soul, and he will keep coming back to the woman who knows how to give it. But let's be clear, communication is not about talking endlessly or overwhelming someone with words. It's about connection. It's about saying what needs to be said with intention and leaving room for understanding. It's about creating space where both people feel safe to share, to laugh, to dream, to even disagree without fear. That is where true attraction grows. And men don't just admire this, they crave it. In a world where so many interactions are shallow, where so many conversations are filled with pretense, meeting a woman who communicates with authenticity is unforgettable. She becomes the person he wants to confide in, the one he wants to laugh with, the one he can't stop thinking about long after the conversation ends. So when we talk about the power of communication, we're not talking about fancy words or rehearsed lines. We're talking about presence. We're talking about honesty. We're talking about the courage to be real, whether through humor, vulnerability, clarity, or compassion. Men go crazy for women who know how to do this because it goes deeper than appearance. It touches the soul. And once you've touched a man's soul with the way you communicate, you've left an imprint that no one else can erase. There is something deeply magnetic about a woman who knows how to be fully present. Men may be drawn to beauty, charm, or even status, but what makes them lose their composure, what makes them feel irresistibly pulled in, is the energy of a woman who radiates presence. Presence is not about what she wears, how much makeup she has on, or even how she looks. It's about the way she carries herself, the way she enters a room, the way she makes the space around her feel charged with confidence, grace, and authenticity. Presence is a silent language. It's the way her eyes meet his with steadiness instead of looking away in insecurity. It's the way her posture communicates self-assurance before she even says a word. It's the calm in her voice, the way she pauses before speaking, the way she doesn't rush to fill silence because she knows silence itself can be powerful. Men go crazy for women who understand presence because in a world where everyone is rushing, distracted, and trying to prove themselves, she embodies a rare, calm strength. Magnetism is something you can't fake. It's not about trying too hard or performing for approval. It's about being unapologetically comfortable in your own skin. Men notice this instantly. A woman who doesn't desperately chase attention, but instead draws it naturally is unforgettable. She doesn't have to beg for validation because her energy commands it. She doesn't have to compete with anyone because her uniqueness speaks louder than comparison ever could. Presence also has a lot to do with authenticity. Men are not as fooled by appearances as people think. They can sense when someone is pretending, performing, or playing a role. What drives them wild is a woman who is real, who laughs when something is funny, who speaks her truth even if it's not perfect, who shows her quirks instead of hiding them. Authenticity makes her magnetic because it creates comfort and trust. It allows him to put his guard down. He doesn't have to wonder who she really is because what he sees is what he gets. And that is powerful. There's also an elegance to presence, not elegance in the sense of expensive clothing or flawless style, but in the way she respects herself. She doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. She doesn't dominate to prove she's strong. Instead, she finds the balance of being both soft and strong, approachable yet confident. That balance is captivating because it's rare. Men may not always know how to describe it, but they feel it. It's the kind of presence that makes them lean in, listen more closely, and want to stay longer. Magnetism also comes from emotional energy. A woman who brings positivity into a space lights it up. Men are naturally drawn to women who radiate joy, optimism, and playfulness because being around her feels refreshing. But magnetism is not about always being cheerful. It's about being emotionally grounded. Even when life is stressful, even when things aren't perfect, she knows how to carry herself with dignity. That steadiness is magnetic because it makes men feel safe around her. They know she won't lose herself in chaos, and that security is incredibly attractive. Older women often master this presence because they've lived enough to understand themselves deeply. They no longer feel the need to prove, chase, or pretend. They have found strength in simply being. Men feel that difference immediately. It's not just about attraction, it's about respect. They respect her because she respects herself, and that respect fuels desire. What's fascinating about presence is that it lingers. Men don't just notice it in the moment, they think about it afterward. They'll replay the way she carried herself, the way she looked at them, the calm confidence she exuded without effort. It leaves an imprint. While external beauty might fade from memory, presence stays because it touches something deeper. It's not just about the eyes, the smile, or the voice. It's about the energy that tied it all together. Presence also creates contrast in relationships. In a world where so many people are glued to their phones, distracted in conversations, or halfway checked out, a woman who gives her full attention stands out dramatically. When she speaks, she's fully there. When she listens, she's not planning her response, she's absorbing what's being said. That level of presence makes a man feel important, valued, and desired. And that feeling is what keeps him coming back because it's rare to find. The truth is, magnetism doesn't come from perfection. It comes from alignment. It's about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and carrying yourself in a way that reflects that truth. It's about being intentional with how you move, how you speak, and how you show up. When a woman is aligned in this way, she doesn't need to chase attention because attention naturally flows to her. Men go crazy for this kind of presence because it makes them feel alive. It challenges them to rise to the occasion, to bring their best selves forward. They don't just admire her, they want to impress her, to keep her attention, to match her energy. Presence doesn't just attract, it elevates. It sets a standard that makes him want to be better, stronger, and more focused. And the most magnetic thing of all, a woman who knows that she doesn't need anyone to validate her existence. Her value is not defined by who notices her, who approves of her, or who chooses her. She knows she is already whole, already worthy, already powerful. That energy alone is irresistible, because when a woman doesn't need a man, but chooses to invite one into her world, he knows it's real. And that realization drives him wild. So when we talk about presence and magnetism, it's not about tricks, appearances, or trying harder. It's about being. It's about stepping into every room, every conversation, every relationship with confidence, grace, and authenticity. Men can't ignore that. They can't forget it. And once they've experienced it, they'll crave it again and again. So, when we step back and look at it all, what really makes men go crazy for older women isn't a single secret, trick, or tactic. It's the combination of qualities can only time, growth, and self-awareness can bring. It's confidence that radiates without apology. It's independence that says, I am whole whether you choose me or not. It's emotional intelligence that creates safety instead of drama. It's communication that speaks with truth and listens with depth. It's presence and magnetism that transform ordinary moments into unforgettable experiences. These are not things that fade with age, they are things that deepen with age. And that's the beautiful truth, the very qualities that society once tried to convince women were weaknesses. Being experienced, being seasoned, being unapologetically themselves are the very things that drive men wild, because they are qualities of substance. They are qualities that cannot be imitated or faked. If you've listened this far, then you already know that the power is in your hands. You don't need to try harder, look younger, or be someone else. You simply need to embody the woman you already are. The woman who has learned, who has grown, who has nothing left to prove, but everything left to enjoy. That woman is magnetic. That woman is unforgettable. That woman is irresistible. And here's the part worth remembering: men don't go crazy for older women because of age. They go crazy because of the wisdom, the presence, and the power that only come with time. That is your advantage, and that is your gift. So own it fully. Step into every room with confidence, speak with truth, love with dignity. And never forget, you already carry the qualities that make you extraordinary. Because at the end of the day, the most attractive thing you can ever be is yourself.